In this video, we are going to move to the second part of the chapter, Glimpses of India, Kurg. We'll be looking into what the chapter entails and some really interesting insights from what this place is called as Kurg. Let's also look into what the author has about to say. The author is known as Lokesh Abrol, is a doctor, traveler, and a social entrepreneur who loves writing about India. Let's also look into what the theme of the story for this second part is going to be from Kurg. The narrator of the story vividly describes the district of Kurg in Karnataka. Kurg is known to have a history of men in the military. It is also known for its coffee plantations. So in this chapter, we're going to explore a bit into what this place is in Karnataka, which we are going to discuss and know more about, is known as the place called Kurg. Kurg is said to be very famous for having a history of men who have been inducted into the military, and it is also extremely famous and well known for its coffee plantations. Now let's look into what the explanation of this chapter on Kurg has to say about. Midway between Mysore and the coastal town of Mangalore sits a piece of heaven that must have drifted from the kingdom of God. This land of rolling hills is inhabited by a proud race of martial men, beautiful women, and wild creatures. So this part explains the distance as well as the geographical location of the place that we're discussing here, that is Kurg. It is located somewhat in the middle of the city Mysore and the coastal town of Mangalore. It is said to be a very beautiful and a heavenly place, as though it comes from the kingdom of God. The land here, that is Kurg, is also quite located by hills around. It is also inhabited by men who come from the fighting communities, that is, the martial men, and extremely beautiful women, and a variety of wild creatures and animals. Kurg, or Kodagu, the smallest district of Karnataka, is home to evergreen rainforest, spices, and coffee plantations. This particular section tells that there is also a local, or you can say a regional term, that is used to refer to the place called Kurg. It is known as Kodagu. It is said to be a really small place within Karnataka. Despite being so small, it has a very rich cultural heritage and importance. It is also a home to a variety of geographical aspects and distinct features like the rainforest that are evergreen, certain spices, and coffee plantations as mentioned before. Let's look more into these geographical features of the evergreen forests. They cover at least 30% of the district of Kurg. During the monsoons, that is the rainy seasons, it pours enough to keep many visitors away. So usually when there's monsoon and it's pouring heavily, because of the continuous rains, a lot of tourists and visitors who would otherwise like to come and visit and spend a vacation in Kurg do not usually visit it because of the rains. The season of joy commences from September and continues till March. Now let's look into the weather of Kurg. The weather at Kurg is perfect with some showers thrown in for good measure. The air breathes of invigorating coffee. Coffee estates and colonial bungalows stand tucked under tree canopies in prime corners. It means that the weather of Kurg is extremely pleasant and wonderful, and because of the vast density of coffee plantations, there is a distinct smell of coffee in the air which makes the weather even more pleasant. There is also a trace of colonial bungalows which were the lasting and the creation of the British rule in India, and there are several tree canopies that are located in several corners of the district. There is also the prevalence of a fiercely independent people in Kurg that are possibly of Greek or Arabic descent. So it is said that the people who inhabit Kurg are also people who are extremely fierce, independent, and as mentioned before, come from the martial races. They are possibly of Greek or Arabic descent. As one story goes, a part of Alexander's army moved south along the coast and settled here when return became extremely impractical. So it is said that the reason why the people of Kurg are so fierce, independent, and of martial qualities is because one of the stories of the region says that at the time when Alexander was trying to take control of various territorial areas of India, Asia, and other areas, it became very difficult for Alexander and his army to move back because of the impractical situations and the settlement that had inhabited the time when Alexander was ruling. Because of this, they decided to move south along the coast and settle here in Kurg when it was extremely difficult and impractical for them to return to their homelands. These people, whom we are referring to as the fiercely independent people who are supposedly to be the descendants of Alexander and his people, they married amongst the locals and their culture is apparent in the martial traditions, marriage, and religious rites, which are distinct from the Hindu mainstream. So, if we try to distinguish the certain local cultural ties as well as practices of the people from Kurk from the mainstream Hindu rites as well as practices, there is a very sharp distinction. The sharp distinction flows from the fact that because the people of Kurg are descendants of a population that got married to the people and who were associated to Alexander is the reason why they have these certain peculiarities in their features as well as their martial like qualities as well as the kind of religious rites they practice and perform. The theory that comes from the fact of the Arab origin of the people of Kurd draws support from the long black coat with an embroidered waist belt worn by the Kodagus. Known as kupiya, it resembles the kufiya worn by the Arabs and the Kurds. So here we try to draw a similarity between certain aspects of the things that individuals in Kurg wear to certain accessories that are worn by people within the culture of Arab and the Kurds, which here is being spoken and explained in context of a waist belt like feature which is black and also embroidered. Kurgi homes have a certain tradition of hospitality. They're extremely welcoming and warm, and they are more than willing to recount numerous tales of valor, bravery related to their sons, fathers, and community members, which shows how extremely proud they are of their members. The Kuru Regiment is one of the most decorated in the Indian Army, and the first chief of the Indian Army, General Karyappa, was a Kurgi. So we see that a lot of individuals who are in the army flow from this particular community, which is known for its fierce, independent, and martial qualities. Even now, Kodagus are the only people in India permitted to carry firearms without a license, which is quite an interesting fact because if you inhabit and stay in any other part of the country and come from some other community, you need to obtain a license in order to possess any kind of firearms. However, because of being flown from a community of Kurg, any of the individuals who are known as the Kodagus need not carry any kind of license to carry firearms. The river, the river Kaveri obtains its water from the hills and forests of Kurg. Mahasir, which is a large freshwater fish, is also abound in these waters. Kingfishers dive for their catch, while squirrels and langurs drop partially eaten fruit for the mischief of enjoying the splash and the ripple effect in the clear water. Elephants enjoy being bathed and scrubbed in the river by their mahouts. It tells us that Kurg is not just a place that is famous and well known for the people who inhabit the area, but it also has a very vast span of creatures, especially animals, as well as different types of birds and other living organisms that are quite not just fun to observe in the natural habitat, but also to see how freely they are able to inhabit the areas that is coexisted by the people of Kurg. The most laid back individuals become converts to the life of high energy adventure with river rafting, canoeing, rappelling, rock climbing, and mountain biking. Numerous walking trails in this region are a favorite with trekkers. It tells us that Kurg is again not just famous for its species of animals, wild creatures, or the people of a certain distinct quality, it is also known for the kind of a tourist place it is. The vast choices that are available for people to turn their laid back attitude and laziness into a life of happening and activity is also seen in a place like Kurg. That not just offers activities that are limited to sightseeing, but activities that expand to things like rafting, canoeing, mountain biking. Birds, bees, and butterflies are there to give you company. Macaws, Malabar squirrels, langurs, and slender loris keep a watchful eye from the tree canopy. I do, however, prefer to stop aside for wild elephants. This again tells us the home that Kur is to the vast variety and species of animals, birds, creatures, and extremely fun and colorful organisms like butterflies and bees. The climb to the Brahmagiri hills brings you into a panoramic view of the entire misty landscape of Kurg. A walk across the rope bridge leads to the 64-acre island of Nisarga. Running into Buddhist monks from India's largest Tibetan settlement at nearby Balakupi is a bonus. The monks, in red, ochre, and yellow robes, are amongst the many surprises that wait to be discovered by visitors searching for the heart and soul of India, right here in Coorg. This also tells us that Kurg is also extremely famous for people seeking a religious and spiritual pilgrimage of various faiths and beliefs. There are also several key terms within this chapter that we must be able to understand and relate to in order to grasply understand and learn the chapter. Drifted from, as a term, refers to being carried along gently by air. Martial, as has been spoken and mentioned before, has to do with war, fights, and rivalries. Canopies refers to roof like coverings that form shelters. Prime here means best. Mainstream over here means a tradition which most people follow, one that is practiced vast and widely. Tales of valor here refer to stories of courage and bravery, usually in times of war and conflict. Most decorated refers to having received the maximum number of awards for bravery in war, or a form of excellence in terms of performance in situations of a lot of pressure and conflicts. Laid back refers to an attitude and behavior which is relaxed and not in a hurry. Rafting refers to a form of traveling in a river in a raft, which is a kind of an inflated boat with air. Canoeing here refers to an activity of traveling, again in a river in a space of plastic that is called as a canoe. Rappelling refers to going down a cliff by sliding down a rope. Trails refer to paths created by walking. They are usually in natural habitats and places of lot of forest cover, trees, and natural habitats. Panoramic view refers to a view of wide area of land. Let's also look into the questions of this chapter. The first question being, where is Kurg? Let's take a moment and think about it. If you thought about this answer, you would know that Kurg or Kodagu is the smallest district of Karnataka. It is situated midway between Mysore and the coastal town of Mangalore. Question number 2 asks, what is the story about the Kodagu people's descent? The answer for this could be, the fiercely independent people of Kurg are descendants of Greeks or Arabs. A section of Alexander's army moved south along the coast and settled here only when they were unable to return to their original country. These people got married and settled down among the locals of the populations. This is the story about the descent of Kodagu people who occupied the regions of Kurg. Let's look into the third question. What are some of the things you now know about? Number one, the people of Kurg. Number two, the main crop of Kurg. Number three, the sports it offers to tourists. Number four, the animals you are likely to see in Kurg. Number five, its distance from Bangalore and how to get there. Let's take a moment and think about the answers. If you have thought about the answers, then one by one we will answer all of the 5 questions. Number 1. They are fiercely independent people and have descended from the Greeks or the Arabs. Number 2. Coffee is the main crop of Kurg. Number 3. It mostly offers adventure sports which include activities like river rafting, canoeing, rappelling, rock climbing and mountain biking. Number 4. The animals likely to be seen in Kurg are macaws, Malabar squirrels, langurs, slender loris, elephants, etc. Question number 5. By road, it is around 250 to approximately 260 kilometers from Bangalore. Now let's go through a quick revision of the chapter so far. The author speaks about the geography of Kurg in terms of its location, climate, and relief. He goes on to speak about the things that make Kurg special, distinct, and most importantly, a tourist attraction, from the trekking trails to the water activities. The author puts forward theories on the origin of the Kodavas, that they may be descendants of the Greeks or Arabs.